On today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to make one of these handy deer drags. Hey there, outdoor YouTubers. It's Dave Knetter from Knetter's Practical Outdoors. And you know, I thought real quick today I would show you guys how I make this handy deer drag. Okay, I don't know if you've ever seen deer drags of this design before. Several years ago I had a commercially bought one, right? I had bought one, the same design from a store many years ago, and then somewhere along the line I just lost it, you know. I don't know exactly what happened to it. I just went to go hunting one season and it was gone. Okay, so I thought, well, I don't think it's rocket science. I think I can probably just make one, right? So that's when I came up with this, and this is pretty much the same design as the one that I had bought, you know, from a store a long time ago, and this works just as well. Okay, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen this design of deer drag before, but it actually works pretty well. I know some of you guys might have the kind like a harness, and then the rope comes off your back and it attaches to the deer, and you kind of walk it out like that, and I'm sure those work real well. One thing about this is, you know, with this handle design, you can actually, like, I can get a handle on it, you know, with one hand, and then a friend of yours can grab the other side. You can kind of both of you work to get the deer out of the woods, you know, so that's kind of good to have this handle like that. And if you haven't seen how it works, essentially all you're doing is, let's say this is the neck of a deer, you just kind of wrap it around and kind of loop this through, okay, and then you've got it attached to the neck of the deer, okay, like that, and you kind of pull it out of the woods. Now you might say, you know, some of you guys out there are probably like, hey, I always got this big rack that I can grab onto, you know, and that's great, you know. If you've got a big rack, you can grab onto it, your buddy can grab onto it, you can drag it out of the woods. That's fantastic. But that's not always the case, right? You know, small bucks and does don't really have good handles on their head to grab, so a lot of times you do want to attach something. I know in the past I've just kind of attached rope and kind of grabbed the rope, but that's kind of a pain. So having this good handle with this rope really works good. I showed you the example of, you know, how you would wrap this around the neck of a deer, you know, if it doesn't really have a rack to grab onto, or much of a rack. But even if it does, you can still wrap this around the base of the antlers, okay, and pull the deer out. And another kind of handy thing that I've done a few times with these is I get the deer out of the woods, maybe get it to a truck, maybe get it to a four-wheeler, and you don't really have that much further to drag it, maybe just a little ways down the road to the camp, maybe just a little ways down to the trail back to my house. I'll actually hook the corner of this on the hitch of the four-wheeler or the hitch of the truck, and then I can just drag it the rest of the way out like that. So this kind of works for two things. But anyways, you can see the handle here. This is the size handle I like to go with. We're looking at about 12, 14 inches for the handle, okay. Nylon rope, okay. And this handle, you're going to want to make this out of a good piece of hardwood, okay. You're not going to want to use like pine or anything. That's probably going to, you know, crack, break, that sort of thing. You're going to want to use a good hardwood. This one's made from maple, so it's going to last you a long time. Alright, so we've got our hunk of maple right here. Okay, we've got a nice edge on this side. And we'll say 13 inches. There we go. Cut this down. Okay, there we go. We've got our handle cut down, and I'm using this 1/4 inch nylon rope. So I'm going to drill holes in each end, slightly bigger than a 1/4 inch. And you don't want to drill the holes any bigger than you have to, because that'll kind of compromise the strength of your handle. Okay, but before I attach the rope, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to file down some of these little pointy knots and stuff on this handle. You know, we don't want anything sticking into our hand when we're pulling a deer out of the woods. Alright, so we got our handle smoothed down pretty good. There's a few bumps here and there. That just kind of gives it character, right? Nothing that's going to poke into your hand. So we're good there. And now we're going to go ahead and add the rope. And I cut this rope at about 72 inches. That seems to work pretty good for this size handle. And before we stick it through the holes, I'm going to melt up these ends and try to push them into a point. And that'll help us get them through the holes. There. See if we can get that through. There we go. And then just go ahead and tie a few overhand knots. Probably just 2 of them would be good. And I'll heat that knot up just a little bit, just to kind of keep it from slipping. There we go. Now we'll do the other side. Bring that to a little bit of a point. See if we can get that through. There we go. Like I say, maybe 2 overhand knots. Heat the knot up just a little bit. That just kind of keeps this this nylon rope knots from slipping. And there you go. There's your handy deer drag, you know. Make them for Christmas gifts, right? And you know, another thing that a person might want to do, you might want to put a little clear coat on the hardwood handle. I probably should on this one. I've actually, it's starting to crack up a little bit, but I think if I still catch it with some clear coat, it'll be okay. That'll keep like blood stains, right? Got a nice blood stain on here from being used. That'll kind of keep the blood stains down to a minimum if you put some clear coat on it. But hey, these really work pretty good. Thought I'd just share that with you guys real quick. And hey, remember to hunt, fish, laugh, repeat. This is Dave Knetter from Knetter's Practical Outdoors. Hey, thanks for watching and God bless.